Hey, what's up you guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Ben, and today we're gonna be talking about a real estate investment strategy that blew my mind. Now, before we do that though, if you like real estate investing, personal development, or personal finances, consider subscribing to my channel, guys. I would really appreciate that. And while you're at it, go ahead and smash the like button for me because today's video is gonna be very beneficial for you guys. I can promise you that. Today we're talking about the BRRRR method. Now, this is a real estate investment strategy that's been around for a pretty long time, but recently there was these guys by the name of, their company's called Bigger Pockets, right? If you don't follow them and you're into real estate investing, you should be following these guys, all right? They're awesome. They do a weekly podcast and they have a couple of books, and I'll link those in the description for you guys if you're interested in buying some of them because man, they're really good. I've read one of them and it was a lot of great information, so I'll put those in there for you guys. Now, Bigger Pockets coined this term, the BRRRR method, which stands for buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat. So there's 4 R's and the B in the beginning for what we call the BRRRR method. But this has been going on for a long time. These guys really helped put it on the map and helped a lot of people like myself understand that you don't need a ginormous amount of money to acquire multiple rental properties over time. And that's what we're gonna be talking about today. It's gonna be a brief overview of what the BRRRR method is so that you can become a landlord, start acquiring rental properties, and ultimately become wealthy so that you can be freed up to do what God's intended you to do. You don't have to work a job that you don't want to. You can become financially free, and today is gonna help you do that. So let's get right into it. All right, so the B in BRRRR method stands for buy. Now, if you watch one of my wholesaling videos or the Max Wealth 30-day challenge video that I put up, you're gonna learn how to buy one of these properties, all right? You're gonna learn how to find one, how to look for a good deal, how to calculate it, all that good stuff can be learned through that. The difference here though, is you're not gonna be wholesaling this deal. You actually need to have the cash yourself to buy it. All right, you need to have anywhere from $60,000 to $100,000 in cash. And this is the really hard part. And this is why people don't start out with this method. You're gonna need a good amount of cash to start. But here's the thing, you are gonna be recycling that cash over and over. So you don't need any more than what you start out with, which could be $60,000 to $100,000. Because remember, in the very beginning, I said you don't need a ginormous amount of money. Now, $100,000 could be a lot for some people, but over time you can get there. And to acquire multiple rental properties with that same $100,000 really isn't that bad of a deal. Which brings us to step 2, which is to rehab. Now, you're gonna wanna make sure that you have the cash for this as well, and you're gonna wanna make sure that you can find a good contractor in your area, maybe one that's familiar with investors that can give you a good deal and help you flip this place pretty quickly. A way that you can find one of those contractors is by going to a local RIA, or Real Estate Investment Association. Usually you can Google one in your area to find one, and you're gonna be able to network with a lot of people, real estate agents, people like yourself that are investors, and they can help you find good contractors. Chances are they know a lot of them. So they do business with these contractors, and they could probably hook you up with someone who is able to give you a good deal. So once you find your contractor, you get the bid, you make sure that you can pay for all of it, you hire them. It usually takes anywhere from 4 weeks to 8 weeks, sometimes longer, just depending on how big the renovation is. But at that point, what you're gonna do is you're gonna put it up for rent, which brings us to the next R, which is rent. You're gonna wanna find a tenant for that property. You're gonna become a landlord overnight. Now, I know this may sound scary, and to me, when I first became a landlord, I had no clue what I was doing. But thankfully, I knew someone who did. My last landlord, who was a really cool guy, is really nice. He had a bunch of different rental properties. I called him and I said, hey, I'm about to become a landlord. Is there any way that I can actually borrow that contract that I signed a year ago when I became your tenant? Can I borrow that and use it as a template for my company? Is that okay with you? And he was like, yeah, absolutely. He was super willing to help me out because, you know, I was a young investor, and he was really encouraging. So he let me use his contract, which I use to this day to help sign up my tenants. All I do is I plug in my own numbers, my own company, and I know that he's already gone through the legal process of making sure that it's legit. And so I can just borrow that template and use it for myself. And that's a really easy way for you guys to do that as well. So reach out to maybe someone you know that's a landlord, or your previous landlord that's really nice or something like that, and I'm sure they'd be glad to help you out. So that helps you get your contract, but you need a tenant. You're gonna wanna market for these people on Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, as well as putting a for rent sign out on your front lawn. If you live in a place where people are renting, you're gonna be getting a lot of calls. However, you're not gonna be getting a lot of people that are really, really interested in that property. What I found is that for every 10 calls, one person will be pretty interested. The others just wanna know the details. They wanna know how much it's going for and how many square footage and all that kind of stuff. So just be ready to rattle off some details when people call you, and know that not everyone is gonna be super interested. But here's the thing, you're gonna wanna find quality, all right? So what I recommend is that whenever you find a tenant that is is really interested, make sure they go through a background check, okay? This is huge, guys. This is one of the best things that I could tell you becoming a landlord has really saved us, is making sure that they go through background checks. This deters any criminals or ex-criminals that are involved in some shady stuff. This deters them from actually renting your property because they know, hey, I'm not going to pass the criminal background check. But also that background check checks for their credit. So you can know, man, did they get evicted from their last place? Did they not pay payments on time? All that kind of stuff is going to show up on this background check, which you could go to, the one I use is tenantbackgroundsearch.com, I think. It was one of the first ones. I just Googled it, and it cost about $29 for a comprehensive background check. And all you have to do is email that to them. They fill it out, they pay for it, and you just get the results back. And I think it's $30 for them, but that's basically their application fee. None of that goes to me, but it really helps me know if they're gonna be a good tenant or not. So you can totally do that. And that brings us to the next R. Once you find a tenant and you're renting your place out, you're gonna go ahead and show up to the bank and let them know that you want to do a refinance. Now, banks do what's called a cash out refinance, which is where you go and you tell the bank, hey, I have this home that I own outright. I bought it cash, there's no loans, there's no liens on it. I would like to put a mortgage on that house. Now you may be asking, why would I do that? You know, I just bought it in cash and it's mine. Why would I want to put a loan on that? The reason is because you're gonna get all that cash from the loan up front. The bank is going to give it to you, and you have a tenant who's paying you, let's just say $1,000 a month, and that $1,000 is going to be going towards paying the loan off, and you're going to be able to use the cash that you have from the bank to go out and do the same exact thing again. So to give you some round numbers and like a real world scenario here, let's say that you bought a home for $60,000 and it needed $40,000 in renovations, closing costs, all that stuff, $40,000 in expenses. You now have a property for $100,000, and let's say that with all that renovation, the property value is now $150,000. Well, the banks can actually lend you up to 80% of what your home is valued at. So 80% of 150 is actually $120,000. So you can see you're gonna be getting that $120,000 cash back, and that's more money than you even started with. That gives you more money to play with on your next deal. So you can get maybe a nicer deal, a bigger deal, or you can eventually keep growing that 100 to 120, next deal maybe it's 140, and you keep growing it until you can actually split it so that you can start doing 2 different properties at the same exact time and get you wealthy a lot faster. Now, the only downside to this is that they're gonna make you wait 6 months. You have to own it for 6 months before you can cash out refinance. This seems kind of like a bad deal because, you know, you're spending more time waiting for this cash out refinance. But what's cool about it is that you're gonna be getting rent during that time. You know, you're gonna be able to save this money up before you have to start paying off that loan so that you have some savings if something goes wrong with the property or anything like that. So it is kind of a drawback that you have to wait that long, but at the same time, banks have to make sure that everything checks out and they want you to own it for 6 months. Now, once you've done that, you're gonna go ahead and repeat the process over and over and over and over again. And every 6 months, you can acquire another rental property, which hopefully, guys, will get you on the path to success and financial freedom. And you can learn all the details of how this goes down in the BRRRR Method book that Bigger Pockets has created. I think the author was David Green. He's one of the main dudes with Bigger Pockets. And you can read that book. It's pretty thick. I've bought it. It's got all the details you need. And the link is going to be in the description below. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like videos like this and you're interested in learning a little bit more about real estate, go ahead and smash the like button for me. Subscribe to my channel for more content just like this. And with that being said, I'm Ben Garcia in the next one.